The judge in Blake Lively's case just slapped down their psychopathic request.
And the court said no.
Breaking news, Justin Baldoni just got a big win, meaning Blake Lively got a big loss. Are her lawyers dumb?
Blake Lively is throwing a full-blown tantrum after the judge played the leaked audio in front of the entire courtroom. Well, that's exactly what she deserves. She and Ryan Reynolds tried everything to bury this recording. They did record the show, even getting the podcast canceled, but now fate is siding with Justin Baldoni.
It is so clear Blake's case is falling apart. She's destroying her cred. Ryan Reynolds, too.
There's no way out. March 4th, 2025, the day the courtroom basically turned into a comedy special featuring Judge Lewis Lyman absolutely annihilating Blake's legal team in real time as she thought she was walking in there to flex her Hollywood power. She left getting legally body slammed into the ground.
I see a bully a bully attacking somebody. The bully being Blake Lively and her powerful lawyers. And thank goodness Justin's got support to be able to fight back this time.
And the best part, she had a full-blown meltdown right there in court, and even her own lawyers were visibly embarrassed because at some point even they must have realized this case is an absolute joke.
You don't want to believe that execs at the very tippity top are being essentially threatened or bullied or coerced or extorted and by a couple like Ryan and Blake or like Taylor Swift, right?
Blake and her team walked in acting like they were about to deliver the final blow to Bond's case, only for Judge Lyman to take one look at their absurd request and hit them with a legal equivalent of, "Are you dumb? I mean, how embarrassing do you have to be for a federal judge to straight up roast you in open court?"
Your lawyers are stupid. It's like he's like being nice here. He's like, your lawyers are really stupid.
But the humiliation doesn't stop there, because this legal disaster is now officially going public thanks to the judge's decision. There will be a live audio feed of the next hearing on Thursday. That means the world gets front row seats to Blake's legal stupidity in action.
Justin Baldoni universe, a judge is allowing the internet to join court. Not entirely for the whole court case, but for this Thursday, we'll be sharing live audio, not video, just audio of what goes down.
And honestly, I cannot wait. We all get to hear the exact moment Blake realizes she played herself. There will be no PR spin, no carefully curated TMZ leaks, just cold, hard reality blasting through the speakers. This is a level of humiliation she absolutely deserves. She thought she could waltz into court and demand the most ridiculous subpoenas in legal history. And instead she got shut down in the most brutal way possible.
Blake Lively obtained all of these text messages through subpoena. Okay, what's subpoena? You can only issue a subpoena if you have an open legal case. So you have to have a valid legal case. I can't just issue a subpoena to, the New York Times.
Now let's talk about just how insane Blake's demands were, because it's almost impressive how far she took the delusion her lawyers had the audacity to demand too. 5 years worth of Bolden's phone records, text location data, doctor visits, and who knows what else, as if she was auditioning for a role as a full-time stalker.
Judge in Blake Lively's case just slapped down their psychopathic request for 2.5 years worth of every message that Justin Baldoni and Justin Heath and the PR agents have ever sent to everybody, plus location data. We knew that was going to happen.
Imagine walking into court with a straight face and asking a judge for literal GPS tracking data on someone for over 2 years. Blake, what is this, the FBI? And the judge did not hold back his response. You obviously cannot do that. That's how absurd her request was. Not a single legal justification, just pure nonsense, and Judge Lyman tortured immediately.
Distinguish between the two, what a standard court protective order is and what Blake Lively's team is asking for, which is an attorney's eyes only designation.
Because here's the thing, even if Baldoni had been running a smear campaign, which, spoiler alert, he wasn't, it allegedly started in August 2024, so why on earth is she demanding records dating back to 2022? Someone explained that to me like I'm 5. It makes zero sense.
You are not able to hold a logical thought, but guess what? I, as a judge, I am able to hold a logical thought. So we're going to slap that down. You obviously cannot.
It's like suing someone for defamation in 2024, but demanding to know what they were texting their Uber driver in 2022. The math is not mathing, and even the judge was so over it, he straight up called a subpoena overly intrusive and disproportionate, which is just a fancy way of saying, are you actually okay? Blake wasn't asking for evidence. She was asking for a government surveillance program on Bolden's entire existence.
So I can't just issue a subpoena to, the New York Times.
The judge saw right through it, and now so will the public, because remember that live audio feed on Thursday is going to expose just how desperate and delusional Blake's case really is. And now we get to the best part. The absolute meltdown Blake had in court. Witnesses inside the courtroom said she physically tense up, started whispering furiously to her legal team, and was visibly shaking as she realized a plan was crashing and burning in real time. And honestly, good this entire case has been. Built on smoke and mirrors, and now those mirrors are shattering right in front of her.
They weren't the first to do this. It was Blake Lively. It was Ryan Reynolds. This was their strategy. And now they kind of want to put the genie back in the bottle. But guess what? The genie does not want to go back in the bottle. The genie likes to be free.
The judge's ruling was so brutal, so utter humiliating, that Blake's legal team tried to spin it as a win in the media. I mean, how embarrassing do you have to be to get obliterated in court and still try to act like you won? It's like getting dunked on in basketball, face planting on the floor, and then standing up like, yeah, I totally meant to do that. No, you didn't. You lost spectacularly.
It just blows my mind how dumb Blake Lively's team is, and how just, I guess, egocentric, maniacal, that she thinks that she can tell the world, you didn't see what you actually saw with your eyes. It's insane.
And here's where things get even worse for Blake, the moment of absolute soul-crushing humiliation, when the judge cited Blake's own lawsuit against her, proving that her request made no sense legally. She literally contradicted herself so badly that the judge used her own words against her. That's next level self. Owning you cannot make this level of stupidity up. And where was Ryan Reynolds during all of this? Nowhere to be found. A man who loves tweeting, joking, and making viral moments suddenly turn into Casper the Friendly Ghost the second things got real.
I mean, is it not a little hypocritical? Is this a bad look of her if she's trying to tell the courts that we should stop talking about this in public?
I guess he was too busy pretending to be Deadpool to show up for his wife's legal train wreck. He let Blake take the full public embarrassment on her own. And honestly, I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to be associated with this dumpster fire either.
Blake says she's so glad they did, but now she wants all other footage to not come forward. And we're supposed to be like, yeah, you go, girl.
But instead of admitting defeat, taking the L, and moving on with some dignity, Blake's team doubled down on the stupidity. Instead of fixing their case, presenting actual evidence, acting like real lawyers, they immediately rushed to file more subpoenas, hoping that if they throw enough legal nonsense at the judge, something will stick.
Are her lawyers dumb? Like, what's happening? Why do they keep making these mistakes and fumbling the ball like this?
Blake just learned the hard way that Hollywood power doesn't work in a courtroom. She thought she could intimidate her way to victory, but Judge Lyman treated her like a toddler throwing a tantrum in Walmart. And now this legal circus is only going to get worse for her, because after today's courtroom humiliation, there's no way out. The world is watching. The legal system isn't buying her nonsense, and her reputation is crumbling in real time. And this is just the beginning.
You did that. You destroyed this man's life rather than wait.
Blake Lively wasn't just desperate in court. She went full on Hollywood supervillain mode, demanding access to every single detail of Justin Bolden's life. We're talking calls, text, location, data, work emails, literally anyone has ever communicated with. She wanted his doctor visits too, like she was about to diagnose him with something herself. Who even asked for this? Blake thought she was running a top secret FBI investigation when in reality she was just making a fool of herself in front of a federal judge. And let's be real, this wasn't even about getting justice. This was Blake flailing around hoping to find dirt on Baldoni that doesn't exist. She was throwing subpoenas like confetti, demanding Wayfarer Studios' business record, because apparently she needed to see what Baldoni was emailing his co-workers about 3 years ago. What's next? Blake demanding his Amazon order history.
I mean, that first subpoena, as you pointed out when we talked on our prior show, it was massively overbroad. It basically asked for everything under the sun. And it was crazy. And it was never going to get granted in full. So I'm surprised they didn't back off and try to do a little more tailored at the beginning.
Judge Lyman was having none of it. He took one look at her ridiculous request and called it overly broad and invasive, which in legal terms is a very polite way of saying, Blake, sit down, you sound insane. She was trying to turn the courtroom into an episode of Homeland, and the judge just hit her with a hard reality check. Even after modifying the request, it still got denied. The judge saw right through her desperation.
The judge makes a point of like, well, then why do you need 2 years worth? In her own suit, she alleges this campaign started in August. So why the reach for 2.5 years? Was nice to see the judge really sort of acknowledge that. This was the part I'm looking.
And here's where it gets even funnier. The final ruling only allowed her to access 4 months of records, not 2. 5 years, just 4 months. August, December 2024. Blake came in swinging for Bolden's entire digital footprint, and she walked out with scraps. That's what happens when you try to abuse a legal system to play out your personal vendetta.
This is the audio Blake and Ryan's agent seemingly didn't want you to hear.
I wonder if you could tell us about a little bit of a mess that I gather you've been involved in.
Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this one.
Do you have notes on it?
Oh, yeah. Those are the 2 things I said to myself.
But it gets worse, because just when Blake thought she could control the narrative, of truth came crashing down on her head. A leaked recording from Area Manual, CEO of WME, just exposed the biggest Hollywood cover-up of the year. Turns out Blake and Ryan Reynolds weren't just innocent bystanders in Bolden's blacklisting. They were the ones who pushed for it.
So he fired him. I'm a ride or die. That's why he did it. Because he basically said, okay, fine. Yeah, Ryan and Blake, I'm going to go with you. So you did that. You destroyed this man's life rather than wait.
Area Manual, the same guy who runs WME, the most powerful agency in Hollywood, was caught on tape admitting that he personally fired Baldoni because of Blake and Ryan's demands. Let that sink, and they didn't just sit back and watch it happen. They made it happen.
Bad situation that Baldoni, whatever his name is doing. And
it's an effed up situation. Whatever, Baldoni, whatever his name is doing, whatever, he's your client. What a scum.
And it gets even worse, because Emmanuel didn't even have the basic decency to refer to Boney by his real name. He called him Baloney. Imagine getting blacklisted by your own agent, and then finding out he mocks you like a middle school bully behind your back.
How is it possible that one individual can work behind the scenes to influence the minds, the hearts and minds of those with influence in the industry to potentially squash another individual such as a Justin Baldoni?
And now Blake's entire victim narrative is dead, because this isn't just speculation anymore. This is proof that she and Ryan Reynolds actively destroyed Bolden's career. This isn't just Hollywood drama anymore. This is a textbook defamation case.
The worst part? The Freakonomics podcast, where Emmanuel made this confession, conveniently lost their recording.
And then something odd happened. The podcast didn't get recorded. Neither the audio nor the YouTube video, both just miraculously didn't get recorded.
The worst part, the Freakonomics podcast, where Emmanuel made this confession, conveniently lost their recording.
Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired former CIA agents with a proven track record of lying to the public, gaslighting the public.
Oh, but luckily a journalist in the room secretly recorded it anyway. What are the odds? Imagine being so deep in a cover-up that an entire podcast episode just vanishes.
They just sort of take out, smear, and destroy the reputations of people that they don't like, or people perhaps that their clients don't like. But the question is, who do they do that on behalf of?
And Blake knew this was bad, because after this leak dropped, she went into full damage control mode. And when Blake Lively panics, she does what any good Hollywood elitist would do. She calls in the CIA.
But this is an actual headline right now in Variety. It reads that Blake Lively hires CIA alum for crisis PR in legal battle with Justin Baldoni.
Yes, you read that right. Blake and Ryan just hired Nick Shapiro, a former CIA deputy chief of staff, to handle their PR crisis. At this point, it's not even a legal battle anymore. It's a full-blown government-level cover-up. Blake Lively is out here hiring actual intelligence operatives to spin her courtroom L into a win.
And I can just see Ryan sitting there like, yes, this is exactly what I want, a puppy to kick in the mouth. and you'll do what I say.
And let's talk about who this guy is. Nick Shapiro isn't just any PR guy. This is the same man who helped push the false narrative that Hunter Biden's laptop was Russian disinformation. That's right, the same guy who straight up gaslit the public about a major political scandal is now running PR for Blake Lively. If that doesn't tell you how shady, this is nothing will but.
Remember, a massive part of the CIA's job, really the most important part of the CIA's job, is managing public relations, because we, the people, wouldn't agree to go to war unless they sold that idea to us. So they need a crisis.
And let's be real, why does an actress need a former CIA agent to do damage control? Why is a Hollywood defamation case suddenly turning into a full-scale intelligence operation? This is not normal Blake is like.
Is this truly a win for Justin and a loss for Blake?
Absolutely a win for Justin, and you're absolutely right, Andy, in your interpretation of the document. What they said is basically they told you to go, you have to go meet and confer, and to even come up with more narrow requests.
Blake has officially lost the plot 1 second. She's crying in court playing the victim. The next she's bringing in a CIA agent to silence the media. You can't make this up. The irony of all this, Blake has spent this entire lawsuit claiming that Baldoni ran a smear campaign against her. Yet she just hired one of the biggest professional smear artists in modern history. Nick Shapiro's entire job at the CIA was to manipulate public perception, and now he's working to manipulate the public into believing that Blake Lively is the innocent one here.
We can now all agree that the moral crimes committed here by Ryan Reynolds against Justin Baldoni have amounted to high treason.
This isn't just PR cleanup. This is deep state Hollywood corruption. At its peak, Blake is literally using CIA tactics to rewrite reality. She's not even pretending to play fair anymore. Instead of admitting she has no case, she's doubling down and bringing in a government-level propaganda expert, your despot, and a massive hypocrite. And let's not forget the second Shapiro was hired. What happened? The New York Times suddenly dropped her. Convenient hit piece against Baldoni. Wow, what perfect timing, though. Same New York Times that has been infamous for pushing political narratives on command just happens to publish a negative piece about Baldoni right when Blake needs it. Coincidence? Not a chance.
Anyone else seeing the gaslighting from Blake and Ryan, constantly trying to just wave things that we've seen with our own minds and pretend like they didn't happen?
Blake knows she's losing. That's why she's no longer relying on legal arguments. She's bringing in CIA operatives and using mainstream media to attack Baldoni in real time. And the funniest part, none of this is helping her, because at the end of the day, the facts are already out. The leaked audio proves that Blake and Ryan blacklisted Baldoni. The judge's ruling proves that Blake's legal requests were completely insane. And now the world is watching as she desperately tries to spin the biggest courtroom humiliation of the year.
Thinks this is okay and like proudly displaying us, we're women, so we can just lie and cheat and steal our way into control these big movies. I mean, how disturbing is this to you?
This is an illegal strategy. This is a full-blown Hollywood panic spiral. And at this rate, Blake Lively's career isn't just sinking, it's imploding. Blake Lively's downfall is happening in real time, and Hollywood is treating her like a radioactive disaster. Not a single A-list celebrity is standing by her. Where's Taylor Swift? Where's Gigi Hadid? Where's the so-called girl squad that used to parade around supporting each other? Crickets, absolute radio silence.
Blake Lively is caught in old footage, revealing that, yes, her secret plan is to always take control of the movies and lie to the directors.
You'd think with all the feminist empowerment speeches she's given, some of these Hollywood elites would have rushed in to defend her. No, they've seen the writing on the wall and know that associating with Blake right now is a career death sentence.
And no amount of I'm sorry's will ever undo it. Hurt people hurt people.
And it gets worse. TMZ report that witnesses are refusing to testify because they fear backlash. If that doesn't tell you everything about how manipulative and toxic Blake's Hollywood influence is, nothing will. People literally don't want to speak on this case because they know if they say anything that doesn't align with Lively's carefully curated narrative, their careers are over. The same woman who claims she's a victim as Hollywood insiders too scared to testify against her. That is power abuse at its finest.
It was a really strange position to be in because I felt like I don't want to just be an actor. I want to, I want to have more authorship.
And let's not forget that Candace Owens' takedown Owens didn't just criticize Blake and Ryan, she absolutely annihilated them, calling them privileged elites who manipulate Hollywood politics for revenge. And she's right, that's exactly what they did to Baldoni. They used their influence, their connections, and their PR power to try and erase his career. But instead of silencing him, they've just exposed themselves as the most petty manipulative duo in Hollywood.
I'm not afraid of this, man. You are a bozo, and you look like a clown here. Now, some could say you're showing your loyalty, but no, I think it's going to really actually hurt you in the end. And this is going to be tar in your face. You're going to regret this one. And I think that's why you wanted this audio not to actually get released.
And no amount of I'm sorry as we'll ever undo it. Hurt people Twitter had a field day. The phrase Blake Lively's Karen moment started trending because at this point that's exactly what she is. She's a rich, entitled Hollywood Karen who thought she could control the system. And now she's throwing a tantrum because it's not working. The memes are brutal. People are clowning her courtroom meltdown, dragging Ryan Reynolds for ghosting her when she needed him the most, and roasting her ridiculous legal strategies.
Ryan Reynolds on the Enneagram is a psycho. That's what he is. He's just a psycho. His number is psycho.
And Hollywood sees a sinking ship when it sees one. This industry doesn't do loyalty, it does self-preservation. The second someone becomes more of a liability than an asset, they get cut off. That's exactly what's happening to Blake. No one wants to be tied to her legal disaster. The PR nightmare is too massive. And at this point, supporting her would be like jumping into quicksand. She's watching her career disintegrate. And there's nothing she can do about it.
They went and met Ferd and they said they were going to get rid of the request to the extent it said all documents related to blank, and they just wanted the phone records. And the court said no. The court said that could include therapists, doctors, friends, colleagues, business people. It's way too broad.
This isn't some he said, she said situation anymore. The evidence is out in the open. A literal Hollywood executive admitted on tape that Baldoni was fired because of Blake and Ryan, that his career sabotage in black and white. And if Baldoni moves forward with a defamation lawsuit, it could be the final blow to Blake's already crumbling reputation. And here's Blake's worst nightmare. If Baldoni wins, she won't just lose money, she'll lose power. Her Hollywood influence will be gone. No more pulling strings behind the scenes, no more controlling the industry narrative. She'll be reduced to another washed-up actress whose career was destroyed by her own arrogance. And let's be real, that's already happening. The judge just handed Blake her biggest courtroom humiliation, yet he publicly exposed her for filing absurd subpoenas, making ridiculous legal requests, and trying to twist the system in her favor, and her Hollywood allies nowhere to be found even. Ryan Reynolds has gone radio silent. If your own husband won't even defend you publicly, that tells you everything you need to know. Ryan Reynolds on Anyag is a psycho. That's what he is just a psycho. His number is psycho. And let's talk about her latest desperate PR stunt, hiring a CIA agent to clean up her mess. Instead of proving her case with actual evidence, she brought in Nick Shapiro, a former CIA disinformation expert, to manipulate the media. This is not normal. No other actress in Hollywood history has needed government-level intelligence agent to handle a PR crisis.
There's a lot of this sort of like Blake complaining that they're evading the privacy. They're doing all this. But then meanwhile, right, she's on Saturday Night Live with Ryan making jokes, hitting back. I mean, is it not a little hypocritical? Is this a bad look of her if she's trying to tell the courts that we should stop talking about this in public?
And if that wasn't shady enough, the second Shapiro came on board, the New York Times suddenly dropped a negative hit piece on Baldoni. The timing was way too perfect. It's so obvious that Blake and Ryan are still pulling strings behind the scenes, trying to spin the public narrative in their favor. But here's the problem. It's not working because the facts are already out. The judge already humiliated her in court. The leaked audio already proved her involvement in Bolden's blacklisting. The live audio feed of the next hearing is going to make things even worse.
Because that's what she has told people in interviews. She's opened up about the fact that she struggles for equality, all the struggles that she faces on behalf of trying to stand up as a woman.
Blake Lively thought she could manipulate her way through this. She thought her Hollywood connections would protect her. She thought she could throw money at PR firms, weaponize mainstream media, and pressure people into staying silent. But she didn't count on the one thing she couldn't control: the truth.